Hello, we are going to be back today with another game from Clutch Gaming. I guess we will be doing 100 Thieves, so whoever saw C9 and thought they were going to have some fun, sorry. No more, not to you guys. So week 3, day 1, we're going to be going over today. I have a little bit of news to share with people. First, I want to talk about some NALCS, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit about what I'll be doing in my personal goals. So, NALCS, I'm really satisfied with how NALCS is coming into week 3. Having standings that are this incredibly close is actually really healthy for a region. So when you see like two teams that are usually like 0-6 and 1-5 at this time, you know that there's a team that's not able to compete at all, and it's not a bad thing that Team Liquid, who is the team who not only did not make serious roster changes, but was the first place NALCS team last split. So they know their competition, and they do not need to change a whole lot to be whom they were back at Worlds, or well, really back at NALCS Summer 2018. So this is really healthy for a region. So, and this also does mean that the gap in between all of these teams is really not that big. So even to people who are like Golden Guardians or Optic fans, who didn't see these teams move that far last year, the fact that they're able to compete this year is actually really interesting, and I'm very happy with how healthy this tournament is so far. Second, so if you don't follow me on Twitter, you can go ahead and do that. I like to tweet a lot. I am now with Infinity Esports, or well, I have been for a little bit, but we haven't had an official announcement until today. So if you guys like Latin America as a region, or you know that I have been working in Latin America, and you like to see tweets about it, or you just want to tweet at me, you can go ahead and follow me on there. So down into the game for today, Clutch Gaming 100 Thieves, and I don't really get a lot of time on weekends, so I didn't even see any of the NALCS games. But I heard this game was really interesting, and I didn't scroll through a whole bunch, but I did see that this game is going to be pretty long, so I'm going to try not to let the video get too long for you guys today. So let's go ahead and get started with draft. Cassiopeia taken out and Akali taken out, so we're still on 9.2. So these are pretty standard. We've gone really specifically over the reasons why we don't want these guys in the game. And then Lucian is just still your number 1 ADC and before the crit item patch, or at least number 1 contested ADC. Maybe not number 1 in every situation, but still very strong. 100 Thieves takes out Rumble, which is pretty strong, knowing that both Huni and Demonte will not be afraid to play such a pick. Lee Sin, knowing that Lyra is a Lee Sin player, so these are definitely our Clutch Gaming target bans. And they goes ahead and they take out the Silas. So I guess the Silas is open for week 3. I don't know if it was open in week 2, but it is a very interesting pick. I personally don't think Silas is that strong, and I don't think that it's necessary for him to even consider him as a pick or a ban in LCS or in any region, at least not yet. I mean, give him like 2 more weeks, and then maybe people will really start to figure him out, and he might become a situational pick. And you know, that might be a little controversial to many people who are watching this video, but Silas is a champion whose numbers just aren't that great. Sure, he has a heal, sure he has a dash, sure he has a shield, and a decent amount of burst damage that's not that hard to execute, and some CC. Like, he has a lot of interesting tools, he just doesn't actually have good numbers. So, I mean, the best thing that I've seen out of him is like a Bruiser Silas top. And you know, that might be made up for when people really figure out how to abuse and play for his ultimate, which is really just stealing other people's ultimates, which that might be the only part about him that's really strong. but it's not strong in every game. So I don't really like this ban, but maybe like maybe someone from Glutch was spamming it in solo queue. I don't really know. I don't have everyone's solo queue identities or anything of nature. So how do they go with after that? Urgot gets picked, so really good to have a flex pick on blue side, especially early. So blue flex, Urgot gets taken out. Nice. Clutch Gaming responds with Ezreal Jace. So you already see that they're starting to build a siege comp. So this is quite interesting. Jace is actually really good because it's going to be a flex. Although I don't know if they're going to want to play it against something like Urgot. I don't think Jace is that bad in Urgot. I think it's actually a decent matchup. It should be pretty even, but I'm not sure what they're thinking at this point in the draft, other than okay, we're gonna play for siege and we're gonna play to maybe not get behind early, but definitely go for some mid game potential, which we've seen a lot of that from Clutch, so not very surprising. Alistar and Aatrox as a response. Alistar and Aatrox both one is a lot of engage and the other is just a very good tool. So you see double flex on the side of 100 Thieves, and I didn't actually look at this draft for more than like 3 seconds, and I didn't look at any part of the game. I just wanted to see how long it was earlier. This is an Aatrox jungle, and this is really interesting because I on patch 9.3 and 9.2, my team, we actually tried Aatrox jungle, so I think it's decent. I don't know how they're gonna play with it this game, but I'm very curious to see how it plays out. But of course, Clutch Gaming may or may not be expecting this. So right now they have a mid top flex in the Urgot and a mid top flex in the Aatrox and Clutch Gaming's minds, whereas really this is a mid top jungle flex Aatrox. So this is a really strong draft from 100 Thieves because they're not only getting tier 1 picks, but they're also getting picks that make it very difficult for red side to take advantage of the fact that they have the last pick. So Clutch go ahead and they get Zoe. This is not my favorite way to draft. So I don't really like picking 3 carries and saving your support picks for later. But I don't know. Oh, this is the Jace jungle? I don't like that. Alright, well, we'll keep looking at the draft before I make any comments on that. So they have Ezreal, Jace, and Zoe. I suppose that if they ban Zoe counters, this is okay at this point. Or if they're just prepared to play. Oh, well, I guess they don't know. They don't know that Aatrox is jungle. They think that it's safe to pick Zoe. I see. This is actually really complicated for Clutch Gaming. This is a problem. We'll go ahead and we'll save this big explanation as to why I'm very concerned by the way this draft has gone. For after the draft is completed, and I will just talk about it in win conditions. To be honest, that would be easier. So they go ahead and they take out Sivir Kaisa, and 100 Thieves responds with Vayne and Lissandra. Tom and Gragas were taken out because they had supports. Tom is definitely a target ban at Vulcan. I don't know if Gragas is something that Vulcan likes to play, but it could be a viable pick as a support champion, or it could also be a viable pick as a top if they're splitting bans, because Gragas is decent into any bully lane. Being one of the only good picks into Kennen, it's definitely okay into Urgot. And then Clutch Gaming decided to pick Braum. I'm so mixed up. Clutch Gaming picked Braum. They picked Vayne and Lissandra. This is so weird. Why is this happening? And then they finish with Zillion. Alright, we need to immediately go into win conditions. I am so concerned by this problem that we're in front of right now. Okay, so we'll go into full screen and we'll think about this. Holy crap. What am I looking at? If this doesn't scream Season 9 theory crafting, I don't know what does, to be honest. So, as a counter pick to Urgot, they chose to last pick Zillion and flex Jace jungle. I don't know if Jace jungle was planned from the beginning. I wish I had more words to say, because that is very strange. So let's think about this. These guys, they have late game insurance, they have reliable engage, they have wave clear, and they have bruisers for neutral objective control. They have DPS, and they have CC. Okay, that's really good. What are these guys missing? They don't have that much siege, but they do have 2 ranged carries for siege. Okay. What does Clutch Gaming have? They have a farm jungle. I guess this guy is siege. Like, he's a siege carry. This is siege. This is siege. This is wave clear. This is wave clear. This is technically a tank, but it's more of like just a shield, a brief shield. And then they have a revive. And this wave clear is not necessarily like the safest wave clear in the world. This is a problem. I don't want to say CG lost in draft, but I do want to say that I'm very skeptical as to what they could do this game. Only due to the fact that they just lack very basic ideas. Like, what do they have that is actually aggressive? They have pick. This is also pick when they're paired together. So like they have a really strong bottom side. And then they have a top and a mid that's just gonna farm. Which may or may not be useful. Because the later the game goes, the probably more favored it will be into 100 Thieves. Just because Vayne is going to be able to do anything that she wants when she has this much CC and tank in front of her. And these guys don't have a really good diving tool. So the thing that was really good about Akali in this patch is that she was a really good diver because she could wait for the time that was necessary in order to kill a backline carry while she was already in the backline. She could put herself in position, consider herself safe, and make the execution when it was safe again. Whereas there's no dive in CG, so there's no true assassin for the Vayne. So if Bang doesn't int, the later the game goes, the easier it is for 100 Thieves. Now, like, what can CG do though? Like, is this champion annoying when ahead? Is this champion annoying when ahead? Is this champion annoying when ahead? Yes. So what CG have is we are gonna I'm sorry, this is not what I like. We are going to get ahead. And if we don't, we lose. This is it. If you lose anything in the game, if one of your lanes gets screwed, like you're done. Whereas these guys have so many options. They have 1-3-1. These guys don't even have like 1-4. Like Jace is the best thing you have as a split pusher. Maybe Ezreal. Like you could do 1-3-1 with Jace Ezreal splitting. I guess that would be really crazy. But is Jace gonna be able to beat Lissandra or Urgot? Probably not late game. Maybe. If he gets ahead, yeah. Can Ezreal push in any of these champions? No, Ezreal doesn't have a wave clear. So I'm extremely skeptical about how this game can go. So CG go ahead and they go for an invade, which I mean they might as well. They have so much level 1 pressure. Huni has Kleptomancy. I mean, having 2 Kleptomancies on your team, I guess, could profit if you were trying to abuse that rune. But I mean, there's so much luck being played with there. I think CG is really like formalizing themselves or formatting themselves into a team that screams like uniqueness. CG's like becoming the Splice of EU. They're so odd in the way that they play because of all of the pressure that they want in all 3 lanes at the same time, that I don't think that their win condition is ever easy. But I think that something that's definitely important for a team, especially when they're on the lower end of the ladder of a tournament, is to try and secure the easiest draft, like the easiest winning draft if possible. Why is he missing all the CS? Is he like that focused on getting? Do not like this. I think the only pick that I really like from CG is Zoe. Like they were pretty sure that 100 Thieves was already picked mid and top, so they picked Zoe. That could have been punished a lot more. Like you could have seen Fizz come out from Huhi. Like with how the draft went for 100 Thieves, like if they had Fizz instead of Lissandra, that would not change a whole lot for CG. In fact, it would actually screw CG over because it's probably one of the best picks that they have, and if Fizz can just destroy Zoe. Or even something like Echo, and then 100 Thieves has like a 1-3-1 that's extremely powerful. I don't really want to see this. Hello? Did I miss something? No, I didn't miss anything. Okay. Let's go ahead and speed this up because I I want something to happen, but I feel like nothing's gonna happen until the 10-minute mark. Wait. I don't understand. Am I really dumb for not seeing this? Is this some kind of secret strat that I don't know about? He's trying to prevent Urgot from farming, and he only takes cannon minions so that he can keep proccing the passive of Spell Thieves. And he's still behind in gold though. Like, why didn't you just take a Dorian's ring? I really don't like this. This is not utilizing your game as you could. If he continues to not farm, he'll be in disaster. Like, this just isn't surprising. The reason Anda's here is because if he gets an E onto Jace, then Jace will die. That is 100% confirmed. So, Jace walks up and is like, I have a zillion with 1 CS. Tries to contest because he has red buff, but really he's a level behind. So you have a level 3 Q on Aatrox. So Aatrox goes ahead and he gets the engage on him. Doesn't exactly get the E, but he just comes over and one-shots him, so it doesn't really matter. So now Zilean's stuck topside still. Now Zilean can't zone Urgot off of the CS. So if he's not gonna farm, like he's just gonna fall behind and be useless. That was a nice teleport. Lyra probably had no idea that came. And even if Lyra like didn't know that Lysandre was there, like just like for the record, Lyra would not win that trade with Anda. Anda took Aftershock. The only thing Lyra might get out of that trade, while also losing his flash, because if he lets Aatrox get the opening of his Eon, then he's gonna lose flash, is maybe a Dark Harvest stack, which I don't find useful also. Like, the best thing CG can hope for right now is once Bang gets his item, which I'm assuming that he's going for Gauntlet, that he'll be able to get a lead. Damn, that was really unfortunate. Oh, Demonte. Like, please look at the map. He has no vision. He came over and he used a flash that he had on his W to just come over and try and get the E off. But he had no idea that Aatrox was behind him. Aatrox just goes ahead and comes up behind him, sets up the kill, and then the kill is donated to Vayne. And now the tempo that you had in bottom lane with Ezreal being ahead, and Ezreal probably being slightly ahead because of Kleptomancy, is completely ruined. Oh, I thought he flashed with his W. I was like, red plant. Yeah, the camera wouldn't let me see that. Even still, like, he's not holding anything. Blue gets stolen, that's not surprising. Fire Dragon on the table, it's definitely going to 100 Thieves. I feel really bad because I try not to be pessimistic in my reviews of games, but when things are looking very desperate and you're also trying to do things that probably shouldn't be done, like playing Zilean top and having 9 CS at 10 minutes. Like, I want them to show me the gold value again, because I want to see where Zilean is compared to Urgot, because I'm pretty sure Zilean's behind. In fact, there it is. Yeah, Zilean's actually behind. Not by a lot, but the fact that he's even is a blessing. He's probably only even because of sacks of gold, which would not get changed if he was farming or not. And just to check something, I do want to see that Ezreal is still even though Vayne got a kill. So like that's good for CG. If there is anything that's going good for CG, that would be it. Because the rest of their entire team is down. So why don't I talk about Jace jungle? Jace jungle is a bad idea. That's in any environment that's not solo queue. So Jace jungle recently came into play because I feel like, I don't even know what region it was, someone played it on stage and made it work, but the conditions that were created to make Jace jungle work were extremely difficult to recreate. This is why you don't play Jace jungle. So think about this. This is the idea behind this play is great. But Jace, without like just buying pure damage and being in a lane and being able to just farm until he has a lot of gold, is not going to have enough damage to really take down Urgot. Zillion's effectively being a second support. So he will not be able to offer a lot of damage. So Lear is able to use the Zillion ult, and then I guess they hope that Huni doesn't get hit by the Urgot ult, because that's what chains this. But I don't even know if Lear was gonna be able to kill Urgot if he didn't get feared. Like okay, so you're picking a jungle with no utility. So when you pick a jungle with no utility, even though it has like some usefulness in some other regards, like you usually have damage, turret pushing, or siege. Like you're offering one of these three things, and Jace is trying to offer one of these three things, but when you usually refer to damage in a jungler, you're talking about burst. Something like Camille, but Camille at least has the ability to like lock someone in its place. Elise is one of your like more famous, like not a lot of utility junglers, just because even if she misses her E, she's still able to like one-shot someone if she's able to get her damage off. So there's not a whole lot else to look at here if the game is going to continue like this. But I think the game that Jace actually was able to succeed in whatever region, he had 3 lanes that had a lot of utility. Jace Braum is actually pretty good, but Jace Braum Ezreal is probably not very good. Just because Ezreal is not going to have any pressure in his lane, because ideally, like they are pushing, but ideally, like Jace is going to either A1 win the jungle matchup, but also be able to invade with Braum. And I don't think he can do either of these things, because if Alistar roams too out of the lane when Ezreal pushes, like he's gonna lose because the jungle matchup is not favorable in any way, shape, or form. When thinking about the options that Clutch Gaming have, it pretty much has to do with picks that they might be able to make in the jungle with Braum and Jace, and possibly Zoe, or it has to do with 100 Thieves making a mistake. I think the best thing that has gone so far this game for Clutch Gaming is they haven't lost any kind of turret plating, so it's minimized their lead, or it's minimized the lead that 100 Thieves has been able to accrue. But it's not ideal. So if I did imagine that Urgot did not have 2 kills, I think Zillion would have more gold at this point. Now that he started farming. Just to note this. Now that he started farming, he would have more gold had he not died. Okay, so Ezreal and Braum. had to make a back. 100 Thieves make a rotation, they get a bot turret. So I don't know how long this game lasts, but I would not expect it to last as long as it probably does. So let's see what Clutch Gaming actually is able to do, because I know that this game, I don't think it's as easy for 100 Thieves as it seems. I really want to believe that there's something that I'm missing, that there's something that I do not understand about this, that I'm able to learn from this game. Because if there isn't, I'm going to be really sad. That was close. So 2 Fire Dragons to 100 Thieves. Nail in the coffin on the scaling game. Okay, so 5 plates to 2 plates. That could be a lot worse. Rift Herald gets summoned, and 100 Thieves make a rotation top. Everything from the perspective of 100 Thieves is really clean. You know, they play around top side because they know that they're going to get pushed in bottom side. And because they know that they're going to get pushed in bottom side, they don't actually make any heavy investments towards bottom side. They go ahead and they say, okay, well, we have a Rift Herald. We know that we had pressure in mid lane earlier, and with the pressure we were able to get a lot of damage on the turret. So we can use the Rift Herald, and then because we took bottom lane tower first, because we capitalized on a rotation, and we capitalized on a back that we know the enemy had, we're going to rotate through the enemy's jungle because we have so much pressure topside, so that we can go ahead and take the third outer tower at the same time. Like, this is a very great power play and game plan executed by 100 Thieves. I just don't know what Clutch Gaming can do to stop it. So 100 Thieves didn't quite get the turret up top, but it is down a lot of HP. Oof. What happened there? Oh, Anda should not walk in front of Alistar. That's not very smart. Now that waves are always pushing into Clutch Gaming, like this does accelerate like the amount of forced farm that they can get themselves, because 100 Thieves wants to have the lanes pushed in so that they can keep pressure. But it also means that if they set up any slow pushes, they will miss CS, and CG will go ahead and catch any of that CS because it's getting pushed in. So there will be more incentive for CG to just not do anything, just because they will be getting fed more over time. But if at some point 100 Thieves decides to make a big play, which they're on the crux of making a big play, note that. Lysandra is almost at 2 items. Aatrox almost has his Knight's Vow. I'm assuming that's what he's building. We already have 2 items on Urgot. Urgot's super fed. And you already have a QSS, and once you get Ginsu's on Vayne, this game is going to be broken open. Okay, so Clutch Gaming catch a bubble. They go for a lot of poke, and they get it on the Aatrox, who he goes in, does not quite get an ultimate, or he gets an ultimate off, but it's not very useful. And Clutch Gaming pretty much get by from poke. So if you would like to watch that, slower, this is actually just bad execution from 100 Thieves. So 100 Thieves say, okay, we want to fight for this Fire Dragon, and we do not want to have a big disadvantage, so we're going to force something that's really hard. So this is unnecessary. This is not necessary for 100 Thieves to force here and flank while Anda's really low, and while they don't have complete control of the area. Because it's very easy for 100 Thieves to say, okay, well, if we have all the lanes pushed, including the top lane, then all we need to do is stop CG from taking the Baron, which is pretty, or not the Baron, the Dragon, which is pretty easy, in order to very calmly take the Dragon ourselves. So 100 Thieves get really excited because they think that this is super easy. But what CG does is they sit back and they poke. So an ultimate goes out onto Piglet, who gets cleansed. Am I on 1x? Yeah, okay, no, he doesn't get cleansed. It just didn't feel that long. Yeah, just like, this is so forced. What the? That's even more forced. Like, you do not need to flash. If you want to push them out, holding onto your flash is actually more useful, because not only does it de-incentivize them on trying to force your flash in that situation, but it makes it really hard for them to do anything without your consent. Like they know that you have flash, therefore they must consent that you can flash onto them if necessary. So this is actually not really a play made by Clutch Gaming. This is a play gone wrong and unnecessary and overforced play gone wrong by 100 Thieves that rewards Clutch Gaming with a Fire Dragon. So this doesn't actually mean all that much. It means a little bit because Clutch Gaming has a lot of carries, so like they will get a lot of actual gold value out of the Fire Dragon. Possibly, maybe not more than 100 Thieves out of there. 2 Fire Dragons, not nearly, but a large amount. So 100 Thieves says, okay, we're gonna let bot slow push. And once they let bot slow push and they have vision on top, then we're going to look for a pick and force. And a pick and force is going to lead to Baron. All we need to do is control Baron. So this is very textbook gameplay from 100 Thieves. So not very surprising. Ooh, let's go ahead and move forward and go back 2 times and see if anything interesting happens. Whoa! Okay, I stand corrected. I thought nothing was going to happen. Okay, 100 Thieves say we're going to flank. He goes in. That's really, really fast. Wow. This is about how I expected it to go. This was not ideal for 100 Thieves because he got hit with a bubble. But because his ultimate was delayed so much, Urgot actually arrived on time. So Urgot getting the fear on several people, Zillion ult actually not going on the right person. Like, why is Huni ulting himself? Like, why doesn't Huni ult Piglet, and then once Piglet revives, he has E again, he might be able to E away. So... That was irresponsible by Piglet to die there. Or not Piglet, Bang. Same person. Like, why is he walking that way instead of this way? He can just walk and go farm that. Whatever. Like, he knows that Jace was in the jungle. He's at no HP. But, I mean, I guess errors like that don't really mean a whole lot. So that's a 4 for 2 in the favor of 100 Thieves. And they can do that about every minute. If they really want to, they can force that hard every minute or so. They just need to get an ult onto Zoe when Zoe doesn't have cleanse, and if it's not Zoe, then they want to try and one-shot Jace or Ezreal, and the game gets pretty easy for them. So, good thing to note about the state of the game right now is that Clutch Gaming aren't impossibly behind, which means that they can actually do they might be able to get a pick and do something with the pick. They're also at key item spikes. Now that Jace actually has quite a bit of armor pen, he's very strong against the Vayne. Not very strong against anyone else, but very much so against the Vayne. Aphromu getting caught out, actually. So, as expected, CG say, okay, well, we can't really do anything except get a pick. The second they find someone, they get a pick. Now they go for a siege, because it's in their comp. They have pretty much 4 sieging champions. If you count Zilean as a sieging champion, he gives quite a bit of zoning with his bombs, and they manage to pick up a turret. So very, very small wins for Clutch Gaming on that. This is not the way that you can win the whole game. Like if this is how it's going to look the whole game. Wait, what? Was this an accident? I don't know if that was an accident. I don't know why he's teleporting. Is he? I'm so curious. Like, what is he doing? Well, Ezreal doesn't have TP now, so Ezreal's not even thinking about splitting. And he's trying to get picks. Doesn't really have any help at the time, so it wasn't very useful. Just taking himself off the map by wasting all of his mana. That was unfortunate. "100 Thieves," all they need to do is just get together, get waves pushed, and once they get waves pushed, they just make a big engage before CG can actually poke. If they can do that, then CG doesn't really have a lot of options. Uhi's like in a pretty bad spot though. I don't like think about this. Like why does Uhi want to be there? Do they not know that any of that's worded? Like why is it not being scanned? Urgot has a scanner right now. So does Alistar. Like this is just so irresponsible. This game is only not won already because 100 Thieves is being irresponsible. Like CG had a ward in a pretty common spot, so they were able to capitalize. I feel really bad because there's not a whole lot to look at this game, like in depth. So, in effort of trying to understand CG's comp a little better, let's imagine this thought problem. What do you need in order to stop them from sieging when they have Jay's Qs flying every 6 seconds, and then an accelerated Jay's Q every maybe 12 seconds, Ezreal Qs every 3 seconds, Zoe Qs every 4 seconds, and Zilean bombs every 6 seconds. Really, really hard to stop a siege under turret, if that's the actual like barrage that you have to sit through. So like that's like a great idea. It's just not practical to have all of that pressure on your team when you can't get through other parts of the game and you're sacrificing almost every other possible win condition that's available. So like, and I feel so unincentivized myself to talk about the previous team fight. So let's look at this. So 100 Thieves said, all right, we're being monkeys. We're just going to surround them and we're going to go in. And so that's what they do. So Huhi's on Lyra, so Huhi's being a bruiser. Vayne's on backline. Vayne has access to 3 tanks right now in a choke point. So CG are peeling back off into their own jungle to try and get out of the choke point. But Lyra gets obliterated, Vulcan gets obliterated, and then Bang starts ripping through people because he's Vayne and he already has 2 items. So best thing that happens for CG right now, Vayne doesn't have flash. That's actually the best thing that happened to them in the past minute. So does 100 Thieves get Baron here? Ezreal is quite annoying, but yes, they go ahead and they get the Baron. So they don't really mind. They don't really mind playing against a Siege comp. Siege comps were a thing back several years ago, and I don't have a lot to talk about, so I'll just talk about League history. Siege comp were like a really big, popular strategy like several years ago. Especially when like Nidalee was still a really popular champion, but even before her rework. And the problem with a siege comp is that if you have enough bullshit to throw at someone when they're under turret, it makes it really difficult for them to clear minions for longer than like 2 waves. So like, how to respond to a siege comp? Well, if you don't have Xerath or Ziggs, then it gets really, really difficult. And picking Xerath or Ziggs is almost suicide in mid lane in most metas because those guys are especially weak against assassins. And because assassins are always somewhat viable, you don't really see them a whole lot. Unless it's like an anti-assassin meta, then you almost never see Xerath or Ziggs in the mid lane. And even when you do, you see them playing extremely safely. And Xerath used to be okay, until they changed his passive to the mana passive. That was also when they changed his attack range. I think they changed it like slightly after. They were like, wow, this is not really being used, so we're going to give him more attack range. But Xerath used to have a passive where you would get armor based on how much AP you had. It was a percentage. So you would get Zhonya's, and late game you'd have 700, 800 AP, but you'd also have 300 armor. So even picks like Zed or Talon would not be able to really mess with Xerath. The best things that could mess with Xerath were things that were either permabanned, like Kassadin, like back in those days, like Season 3, Season 4, you're looking at Kassadin, or you're looking at something that could just get in his face and kill him, like Katarina. Urgot is soloing Infernal, or Elemental Drake. Or Elemental. It's Ancestral Drake. I can't ever say that. So back a long time ago, there were lots of things that could have been done about siege comps, assuming it was a meta that you could play in, but it was almost never a meta for those guys, because you're talking about part of the game, part of the scene where things were just a lot more toxic in nature. And I don't mean toxic like your teammates in solo queue. I mean toxic like damage wise. I think it was like a year ago people started talking about creep something. I don't know, some term that Doublelift tried to coin, where everything gets nerfed and then nothing's strong anymore. And then only things are strong in, that is a weird spectate bug. Things are only strong in, like, relatively to other, relatively to other things. And that's how it always is, but there's also just like an idea of like how strong is something. Like if you were to measure, like take the mean health, armor and MR, like the base numbers of every champion in the game, and you took the base damages of like one specific champion, you said, okay, this champion over the mean of all champions is actually this strong, like you can measure that. But if you looked at it now, for many champions it will be lower due to item changes, due to scaling, and like some champions will be the same, but there's also that reliability factor. I've stressed it a lot, like how where reliable things are just a lot better. And that should be kind of like an idea, like why is Kha'Zix or Jarvan, like why is Jarvan so good in solo queue? Even if you're like not the best player, it's because he's super reliable. You know, you EQ ult and that's it. There's not a whole lot to miss. Whereas like you don't see a lot of Nidalee players because you have to hit a lot of skill shots. Okay, there is not a whole lot to look at in this part in this game. So I'm curious as to, does this game go that much longer? Oh, did they steal the Baron? Did this game only go long because it was a Baron steal? Wow, that was it? This game extended so long due to one small error? Sure, let's go with that. So, Ancestral Drake number 2 is pretty nasty. Bang waited a while to QSS that. Maybe he wasn't sure if he needed to QSS it. Wow, that was pretty insane. Hold on. How did they get this? Oh, it was really a Zoe bubble? Like, I'm only looking at this game right now because it's entertaining to see how one small error can actually cause such a big difference. 100 Thieves has made several small errors throughout the entire game. The Baron that they lost was sure a small error, but it has actually caused them to lose a lot. Bang is just being really irresponsible here. There's no reason why he should be here. Someday did not want to tank that for him, apparently. This is just all kind of silly. I don't think that there's a whole lot to look at here. I would actually prefer to just see how this ends. Here's the game-ending fight, is it not? Okay. Wait, Alistar's not even there. Aatrox gets the smite. Bang's full HP. Urgot has a GA. Zoe pops a second GA on the Aatrox. Aatrox has ult. He's going to revive a second time. And they give up Aatrox for the Baron buff. But at this point, they have literally 30,000 minions in top lane. The minions actually took that inhibitor, I think, and they siege for the end of the game. just with Baron. Oh, here's the game-ending fight. That's how this comp should always look. Late game Vayne, 2 hitting people. So let's talk about this again. And let's let them trade, just because I really want to talk about the viability of some of the things that were chosen this game. Aatrox lost a lot of pressure with the nerfs, but what he didn't lose was his reliability as a bruiser, of being someone that can go in, do a lot of damage, and be scary. And now that he can do that from the jungle, or now that he can't do that in a lane, meaning like he can't just win any lane that he plays, he can just play jungle and farm the jungle and do that. So that's fair. That's fair. Aatrox, not so much of a bully anymore. He won't scale as fast because he probably won't get fed every game. But if you put him in the jungle, he might scale faster than he does in a lane because he'll be able to get assists across the board. But he won't be like a primary carry. He'll be like a bruiser and like kind of like a support, but still a front line who's very scary. So Clutch Gaming picked Zoe thinking that Aatrox is not jungle. So that's not even your first mistake in this draft. Zoe was their third pick. They picked Ezreal, Jace, and Zoe for the first 3 picks. So Ezreal, Jace, Zoe is fine, I guess. Ezreal is always fine first pick, just because he's really safe. He can go into a lot of lanes. I don't know why you ban Lucian if you're going to play Ezreal, because Ezreal is still really good into Lucian. And in fact, there are actually lots better picks to play into Ezreal rather than Lucian. So if you're going to go ahead and first pick Ezreal, it's probably a little bit strange for you to pick Lucian, because Ezreal opens up the enemy team to say, hey, we can play Sivir, we can play Kai'Sa, we can play Vayne, we could even play Kog'Maw or something of that nature, because it's not a whole lot of pressure in the bottom lane. It doesn't push that far either. So it's strange. This is a wasted ban. It's very strange. Jace jungle is just not a good idea unless you have really strong lanes with lots of gank assist. So Jace Braum is fine, but like Jace Braum Ezreal is not fine. Jace Braum Varus, Jace Braum Ashe, Jace Braum anything with CC. How about Jace Alistar? And then again, like Zoe in the mid lane, like they could have easily picked Lissandra. Lissandra was actually picked last pick, and I already have everything listed in the order that they want to play it, not the order that they picked it. But they could have picked Lissandra here, and that would have been equally as strong. And it would have given a lot of gank assist for the Jace, because Jace would be able to just follow up on a Lissandra ult. The Zilean pick, I frankly think it's trolling. If you're gonna take something of Kleptomancy, you do not take the support item. I didn't have to like prove, I just had to look at how much gold that he was making compared to the Urgot. I didn't have to prove anything. I didn't have to prove that he possibly would make more gold or not. Kleptomancy is obviously based on chance. You could get 10 sacks of gold, you could get 3. But as someone who does not play a lot of poker, but still someone who understands it, you don't all in just because you have a 70% chance of winning. You want to be pretty sure about what you're doing, especially if there's a lot of money on the line. And I mean, one NALCS game, it probably isn't that much money on the line, but I really don't like this strategy. Now, if he went Zilean top as the counter to Urgot, And he said, you know what, if I die, I can't die because I have ult, and I'm gonna take Klepto, but I'm gonna take Doran's ring and I'm gonna farm. This would make more sense. I would be completely okay if Huni was not playing the way that he did. And I didn't actually realize it at first, but like imagine the 30 CS that he could have had, averaging like 18 gold per CS at this point. And maybe he wouldn't have the support item, but I think he only gets about 100 gold from the support item. So you're talking about something like 500 to 600 gold that he could have had in CS, and he traded that for like 100 to 200 gold that he got from the support item. And then he ended up actually being even with Urgot, even though he had Kleptomancy. And later on, once he started farming, he actually got, he would have been ahead of Urgot if Urgot didn't get kills. That was somewhere around here. I think it was around 61 CS. But they checked the CS and they checked the gold, and they were like, okay, Zillion is 0-1, Urgot's 2-0, but they're about even. So that was after he started farming. But like that entire early game that he spent not farming, that 7 minutes, like you're talking about at least 800 gold that he could have had, and that would have made this game easier. I think there was a lot of theory crafting going on in the side of CG, and I think that if that's something that you guys can't figure out in scrims, like maybe could this work in a very specific situation? Maybe. Does it work against a standard team comp? And by all means, like I don't watch that much NALCS, but I did watch playoffs last year. And I did watch their games at World. 100 Thieves is a textbook team. They play by the book. And Clutch Gaming trying to do all these things that are very strange is not going to work when they have a very standard team composition. So I think this was like a lack of scouting, a lack of possibly practice, and a lack of respect. Like trying to draft something like this, I think says that CG does not respect 100 Thieves. So I feel very strange about this game. I've been really happy with how CG have been changing over the first 2 weeks of the NALCS split. Even if they won the first week and lost the second week, there was still very noticeable changes, and there was a lot of development in the personalities inside the team. But there's something strange about this game that I don't understand. And it starts immediately from the first 2 picks of the draft. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope this video didn't go on too long. Yeah, we're gonna be a little short today, but I guess that'll be fine since the game didn't, even though it was long, was not extremely exciting. But I will be back tomorrow with 100 Thieves versus Cloud9. So please leave comments if you guys have any questions or if you wouldn't talk about anything. I'll respond very quickly. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.